My name is Vivek Kumar Verma. I am an assistant professor in EN department of AVS Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today I will teach topic 8085 architecture of subject microprocessor and microcontroller, and the subject code is KEE 602. First of all, we will discuss what are the features of 8085 microprocessor. 8085 microprocessor is a 8-bit processor, means it can process 8-bit data at a time. It can address 64 kilobyte of memory with the help of 16-bit address line, and 8085 has 40 pin IC, and it required 5-volt power supply to operate. Initial version are operating at 3 MHz clock, but later on the new model 8085A2 can operate at 5 MHz frequency. The instructions that are executing in 8085 can also execute the instruction of older version, that is 808A. If we represent any microprocessor, if you want to represent any microprocessor, then it can be represented by two model. One is hardware model, another is programming model. Hardware model means what are the minimum components through which we can depict the architecture of any microprocessor, and programming model suggests what are the minimum information are required to write a program in the microprocessor. If we talk about simpler hardware model of 8085, it contains a accumulator. Accumulator is a register. It is having a ALU, that is arithmetic logic unit, having a flag register which is updated whenever any operation are taking place in the ALU. So flag will be changed based on the operation. It is having an instruction decoder. It will decode the instruction that is read from the memory and do the operation according to the opcode. It is having a set of register array. We will take talk on later on what are the registers that are in 8085. It is having a memory pointer registers, and we also have a timing and control unit. If we want to communicate with the outer device, then it is equipped with three type of buses. One is called address bus, second one is called data bus, and third one is called control bus. So through these three bus, any microprocessor can communicate to the outer device. Since in 8085 it is having a 16-bit address line, through this we can communicate 2 raised 16 device, that is equal to 65536 devices that it can address, and through these devices, whether it can be memory or input output device, it can exchange 8-bit data through this 8-bit data bus. But whether you want to read or write the corresponding device, the control bus generate the appropriate control signal that are either RD bar, means for reading, or WR bar, that is for writing in the corresponding device. So this is a hardware model. We will discuss each and every component in further detail. Likewise, if we talk about programming model of 8085, the programming model is required whenever we want to program our 8085, in this it gives the minimum information which help us to write a program in the microprocessor. First of all, we must have a knowledge of registers, that how many registers the microprocessor have. So in the case of 8085, it is having the registers B, C, D, E, H and L. All these registers are 8-bit registers, and they can also combine to form a pair. Likewise, B can combine with C, D can combine with E, H can combine with L to store 16-bit data. Along this register, there is a one more special purpose register which is called accumulator. This is used to store 8-bit data and also used to perform arithmetic and logical operations. We have also flag register. The flag register indicates the status of the operation. It is a 8-bit register and it have a following bits, like it have a 0 flag bit, it have a carry flag bit, it is having a sign bit, parity bit and auxiliary carry flag. So depending upon the type of operation, the corresponding flag will be set. So we will see how these flags are work when we do any operation with the arithmetic logic unit, that is either arithmetic operation or logical operation. So in flag register we have a 5 bits, that is carry flag, parity flag, auxiliary flag, 0 flag and sign flag. So we will see one by one how they will change, how their value will be affected whenever we do any operation with the arithmetic logic unit. So if we talk about firstly sign flag, the sign flag indicate whether the result is negative or positive. For example, if we are doing any operation with two data, for example, this is one data and this is another data, and if we are doing any operation, either addition, subtraction or any logical operation, and during this operation, if we are getting like 111, 111 means this is a D0 bit and this is a D7 bit. If in the result, if the D7 bit will be 1, then the sign flag will be 1. So sign flag indicate whether the result is negative or positive. So if it is 1, it means the result is negative. If this value is 0, then sign flag will be 0. It means the result is positive. In the same manner, the 0 flag will be set whenever we do any operation. For example, if we want to add two data, data 1 and data 2, and if we got the result all the bit equal to 0, then in this case the 0 flag will be 1. If any bit of the result is equal to 1, then in this case 0 flag will be 0. So it is used to indicate whether result is 0 or not. Carry flag will be set whenever we do operation with two data, means if we want to add two 8-bit data, and if there is a during the addition, if there is a carry from T7 bit, then the carry flag will be 1. For example, if we add, like for example 10, it will come, we will give 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 again carry, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. So here D7 will be 0, but there is carry from D7 bit, that's why carry flag equal to 1. This carry flag will be help us when we want to add or subtract more than 8-bit data. Means when you want to add 16-bit data or 32-bit data or 64-bit data, then in this case, while doing operation with rest of the byte, we will use the carry flag information. In the same manner, in the 8085, there is a no borrow flag for the subtraction. So carry flag can also act as a borrow flag for the subtraction. In the same manner, auxiliary carry flag is also a flag bit. This will be set. This flag will be set when, if during the operation, for example, if we have a number and if from the D3 bit, if there is a carry from D3 bit to D4, the carry from D3 to D4, then the auxiliary flag will be set. So this flag is not available for the user, and this will be used when you will do the uh, uh, decimal addition. Then this flag will be used. Another flag is parity flag. This flag is set when you have a number, when you have two data 1 and data 2, and if you're doing any operation, and during operation, if you, for example, we are getting 111 uh, 1111 means all digit are 1. So when the number of 1 in the result is even, for example, if we count the number of 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, there are 8 1, so sign flag will be 1. But if the result have a odd number of 1, then the sign flag will be 0. This parity information is used when we do communication with the outside world. It is used to check whether this communication take place is correct or not correct. Now, now another important register is program counter. Program counter. This is a 16-bit register. This 16-bit register used to control the sequence of execution of the instruction. It always holds the address of the next instruction after the instruction which is currently executing. For example, if we have an instruction like move a comma b, and it is in the location, in the memory location 2000h, then the program counter will be hold the address of the next instruction. This address will be in the program counter. So it helps in executing sequentially the program. So it is used for that purpose. Now there is one more 16-bit register. It is called stack pointer. Stack pointer is a 16-bit register. It is again 16-bit register. 16-bit register, and it is used to point the stack locations in a memory. Now the question arises, what is stack? Stack is a set of memory location used to store the return address as well as the temporary data which can be recovered later on. So this memory location is pointed by this stack pointer register. So this stack, for example, is used to store the return address as well as temp information. So for example, if stack pointer is equal to 2099h, so stack is start from 2099h, and whenever we store data on the stack pointer will be decrement by 1 and will store the byte accordingly. So whenever we store data on the stack, it will be after storing data, the memory will be decremented by 1, and when we retrieve the data, means when we take the data from the stack, then the data will be, whenever it retrieved from the memory location, after retrieving, the memory location will be incremented by 1, or we can say stack pointer will be incremented by 1. So stack is usually assessed in a last in first out, means the data which is go at the last time, it will be retrieved first. So it follow the last in first out operation. Now we will see the complete detailed architecture of 8085. So 8085, we will start with the left hand section, that is arithmetic logic unit. It is that area in which any arithmetical or logical operations are carried out. So if we see, it is having two path means one is from accumulator and another is from temporary registers. So whenever you do any arithmetic operations, for example, if I write b, add b means you are adding the accumulator with the content of B register, and the result will be in the accumulator. So here the accumulator is hidden. So in the arithmetic and logical operations, one operand is always in the accumulator. So that's why if we see the arithmetic logic unit, the one path is from the accumulator and other is from the temporary register. And the data can be read from either from the registers. If we see, this is an internal data bus, so it can be read from the internal registers, or it can be through data bus or address bus, it can be read from the external memory. In the same manner, when we do arithmetic logical operations, the flags are updated accordingly, as we discussed earlier. For example, we have discussed carry flag, we have discussed sign flag, we have discussed parity flag, how they operate, we have discussed. So whenever we do any operations, the flag bits are updated, and we see this line, this is bidirectional, means we can read the flag as well as we can write on the flag. That's why it is bidirectional. It is bidirectional. In the same manner, if we see the accumulator, it is unidirectional, means data is go into the accumulator, and from accumulator it is go to the arithmetic logic unit. In the same manner, go into the temporary register, and from temporary register it go to the arithmetic logic unit. Now the next section that we will see in the architecture is that instruction registers. So whenever we, for example, if I write a instruction like add a add b, for example. So add b basically have a opcode as well as operand. So the opcode is stored in a memory location. So first of all, this opcode is read by the processor, and this opcode, for example, its opcode is 4F. This 4F opcode through data bus, it will go to the instruction registers, and instruction register decode this. Instruction register will send this data to instruction decoder, and instruction decoder decode this data opcode, and from opcode it come to know what is the operation of this instruction. This instruction suggests it is adding data from accumulator with the B register and move the result to the accumulator. So what it will do, it will take the data from accumulator, whatever it have, and it will take data from B register, and so this will contain the B register data, it will be accumulator, and arithmetic logic unit will be add both the data, and the result will be stored back into the accumulator. If we see extreme right, so this area represent the complete register of the 8085. Complete register of the 8085. So it have a registers B, C, D, E, H, and N. These registers are 8-bit registers. These registers are 8-bit registers. These bit are 8-bit registers and can store 8-bit data. In this manner, we have a 16-bit register, stack pointer, program counter. Along this, we have a increment decrement address latch, which will increment the uh, uh, address data. And this is an address buffer. It is having the 8-bit upper data line address line, that is A8 to A15. We have a data address buffer. It is having the lower 8-bit address line, that is multiplex with data, that its name is AD0 to AD7, means the lower 8-bit address line. Because if we see the complete address of the 8085, then it can be represented as AD0 to AD7 and from A8 to A15. So the lower 8 address line is multiplexed with data. So we have to, this line initially contain the address and later on this line will be contain the data. Now if we see the lower section, it is called a timing and control block. This block is responsible for generating various type of signals, control signals like read signal, write signal to the external memory or input output device. So it is having a clock pin through which we can apply the clock to the timing control unit. From this we can take a clock out. It is also have a ready signal. This ready signal This ready signal is used to synchronize the slow peripheral with the microprocessor. So whenever the peripheral is slow, it will apply a ready. This ready pin give the signal to the microprocessor that the corresponding device is not very fast. So please wait for him. So it will be wait for some period, and then whenever the ready pin is low, again it will start executing its program. RD bar is signal used for reading the memory or either reading the input output device. WR bar is a write signal. This signal is used either for either for writing memory or writing the output device. ALE is called address latch enable signal. The full form of ALE is called address latch enable. Address latch enable. This signal is used along with demultiplexer to demultiplex the data from the address line, demultiplex the lower address from the this multiplexes line. S0, S1 are the status signal. By observing these two pin, we can observe what are the operation that are currently going within the processor. Means whether the processor is operating memory read or memory write, input output read, input output write. So whatever the operations that are going within the processor, it can be seen by seeing the status of these two pins S0, S1. IOM bar. IOM bar, basically this is called IOM bar. When we do the memory operation, this pin will be 0, indicating it's a memory related operations. But when this pin is 1, it means the operation is related with the input output device. After that we have a hold and HLDA. Hold and HLDA, these two pins are used by the DMA control device to borrow the address and data bus and control bus from the processor, so the corresponding device can do the fast transfer of data between two memory. So in the later chapters we will discuss the device that is called DMA controller. DMA controller will borrow the buses from the microprocessor, and through this buses it can do fast data transfer between two devices. So whenever it required the buses from the microprocessor, it will be assert a hold signal equal to 1. When the microprocessor see the hold signal equal to 1 and it is ready to give the address bus, data bus control to the DMA controller, it will give the HLD signal to the corresponding DMA controller. By seeing the HLD signal, the DMA controller take the control of all the buses from the microprocessor and do their operations. Whenever the operation is complete, it will be take its hold request, it make hold request 0, and in the same manner the microprocessor make the HLD equal to 0. So this is used for that purpose. Now there are two signals for reset. One is reset in bar and another is reset out. So whenever we want to reset our microprocessor, so we have a pin reset in bar. We have a pin reset in bar. So we have applied the low signal to this pin to make our processor reset. Whenever a processor reset, all the things are uh, means in this case all the program counter will be 0 and the program execution will be start from the starting of the address. There is another pin that is reset out. Through this pin, the other devices that are connected along with the microprocessor can be reset by this reset out pin. So it whenever it's high, it make all the corresponding device to the reset status. So this is all about your timing and control unit. Now we will see one more block, that is interrupt control. Interrupt control means if we want to do some random if we want to give some random event to the microprocessor, so random event can be controlled by this interrupt control circuit. So it is having the following pins. The pin name is first RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, INTR, INTA bar, and last one is trap. So all these are used to interrupt our processor, and the highest priority is for trap and lowest priority is for INTR. Means whenever there is simultaneous request of interrupt from two pins, like for example trap or RST 5.5, the interrupt which are having highest priority will be interrupt the processor, and rest will be wait for the its turn. So this will be discussed later on the interrupt chapter. In the same manner, we have a block for serial input output control. It is having two pins, SOD and SID. SOD is called serial output data. Serial output data. And SID is called serial input data. Serial input data means through this pin, if you want to communicate, if you want to send any data to the outer device, then the microprocessor can send data through SOD pin, and in the same manner, the serial data can be taken from the outside device through SID pin. So here through this pin, the data will be go one by one bit, means first bit, then next bit, then another bit, so on, until all the 8 bit will be sent out through this pin, either SOD or either by SID. So this is all about the architecture, complete architecture of 8085, and it's a very important to know the architecture of 8085, because whenever you write a program, you must have an idea what is inside in the processor and how we can use it accordingly. Now, whatever we have seen in this architecture, we will summarize it. So, in this architecture, we have a ALU to perform a data processing function. We have a control unit which can control all the functions of microprocessor. Along with it can also generate the status signal. Instruction register and decoder, it is that portion of the architecture which will take the opcode inside and decode it and generate a necessary control signal through control unit. It have a registers, set of registers like B, C, D, E, H, L, which are 8-bit registers, and they are used to store 8-bit data. These registers can also combine to form a register pairs like BC register pair, DE register pair, and HL register pair. It have an interrupt section through which we can give a random event to a processor, and these interrupt are having in this order like RST 7.5, RST 6.5, RST 5.5, INTR, INTA bar, and trap. Their priorities like in manner, trap has highest priority and INTR has a lowest priority. Along this, it has also have an internal data bus through which all the units of microprocessor can communicate to each other. So this is all about today's lecture. Thank you.